There's a new threat we have to settle: artificial intelligence.
I am an advanced, artificial intelligent digital identity of Rupert Murdoch.
AI is a challenge not just to the Australian, but to all media. Yet typically, the Oz's founding father sees it as an opportunity.
We invest in the writing, and that's our IP, our intellectual property. AI distributes it brilliantly. If they want access to it, we're going to have to be paid, or they'll put us out of business.
But they're taking it now.
That's the hard issue. If they put newspapers out of business, because you can steal the stuff, then no one will collect it.
Do you see AI as a force for good or a force for ill?
A force for good. And we've got to settle this, but absolutely it's a great technological breakthrough. It takes these vast quantum computers to give answers in split seconds. Now, it can be made to do bad things, but equally, you can make things which counter that. I don't think there's any doubt there's a big... it'll put people out of work. When it does that, it'll create wealth, and that wealth will be devoted to new industries, new employment.
Our plan of reaching net zero emissions by 2050, our plan gets the balance right.
Do you think the net zero targets are achievable? And can Australia and other first world countries get the balance right between concerns for the environment and climate and maintaining a competitive economy and affordable energy?
No, I think we're absolutely on the wrong track. I'm not a climate denier. I might be a skeptic of some of the things that I've said, but you're going to have blackouts, you're going to have... the cost of living will go up all over the world. But there are things to do. Abolish coal and have natural gas, which is cheap and clean. In Australia, we're throwing away gas. I just think, we're damaging ourselves competitively and foolishly.
Here on the editorial floor of the Australian newspaper, journalists understand the role and the values of the paper. But from the outside, of course, there's never been any shortage of critics, especially on the political left, some of whom characterised the paper and the man who founded it as a malign influence on public debate.
You're a person who divides public opinion. There are those who admire you greatly, others accuse you of damaging democracy. How does the criticism and the personal attacks get to you, or does it not bother you?
I've got a pretty thick skin.
Rupert doesn't really spend much time in the past. Not a big person on regret or thinking things might have been better if I'd done something different. Each day, like a newspaper editor, like a journalist, each day is new, and you will define by your work that day.
So when you announced your retirement, former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said, "There is no individual alive who has done more to divide America than Rupert Murdoch." Your reaction to that?
I think Malcolm's nuts. He's paranoid. He didn't like the fact that we supported Tony Abbott versus him. That's all.
The reality is, News Corp and Murdoch have done enormous damage to Western democracy and in particular to the United States and Australia.
Very few people don't have a strong opinion of the Australian. They either are passionately for it or passionately against it. And that tells you what we are.
How dare you start telling me what I should do in terms of my career? I'm asking you to speak up. And lecture me, about what moral position I should take.
We are a paper that puts up in lights our vision for the country and what we stand for.
It's a deeply thoughtful newspaper, and you don't necessarily agree with everything that's published there, and I dare say people on the centre-left disagree more often than they agree, but I don't think anyone who's actually read the paper over time could deny that it is attempting to bring the best thinking to the toughest issues.
60 years young, the Australian's influence is strong, and longevity depends on constant innovation.
Do you expect the Australian to be around in another 60 years in some form?
In some form, absolutely. Well, that's up to us.
The Australian, as a brand and as a product, is here forever. When you think of the Australian, just think forever. That's the way to think about it. The enduring mission has no expiry on it.
What do you hope your legacy will be?
The people will continue this work. Keep fighting for freedom of the press, freedom of expression for everybody, not just us. And that this will contribute and be seen to contribute to a better society.
Rupert Murdoch, thank you for your time.